What's up, guys? We are back heading into week number 6. Officially, I believe, is now halfway, pretty much on that halfway point of the season. Before we get into the matchups, the reason why this is coming out earlier than expected, and now realizing it, I don't like doing the matchups this early because a lot changes throughout the week, and it's only Wednesday. The reason why I'm doing this early is because I do have a wedding to go to on Saturday. Therefore, I will not be able to put it out on Saturday, and I can kind of give it before the Thursday night games. But a lot's going to change. Word around the street, with myself included, there's a lot of trade talks that are going on. We already saw one just get passed through. I'll give my analysis on that deal. All right, let's recap week number 5. And man, oh man, I think the one thing week 5 told us specifically is that this year in particular has been the definition of boom or bust. That's just what it is. I don't think a lot of teams have failed to meet expectations, and they rose to the occasion in week number 5. But bottom line is, this season in particular, ladies and gentlemen, it's a boom or bust year for a lot of the competitive teams, and the teams that aren't producing, they're going to be in for a long season. Let's recap the games really quickly. Upset of the week, if you will. Lewis Todd puts up 122, and David Sutton fails to break the 100-point mark, giving Lewis his first win of the season. Congratulations on the W. We've seen Lewis be in this position last year as well. Starts off really bad in September and starts to kind of string wins. Could this be a sign of things to come? I don't know. We'll check it out. The absolute one of the blowouts of the week, if you will. Johnny J. Fresh, led by the MVP, the best player in the league, and a guy I truly love, Christian McCaffrey. He put up 161. Will Fuller, you're not going to buy him now. If you were in on Will Fuller, you needed to get him. He wasn't in Johnny's lineup, and I think by default, because Marvin Jones was on that bye, Johnny was forced to play Will Fuller, and it worked out. 161 to 91. David Cryer, things are not looking good for this team. I think we can put him at the bottom tier. Things aren't looking good, but Johnny J. Fresh is now the number 2 seed in the league. Okay, he has the second most points. I think since the trade has been made, things have been looking up for this team. I'm not saying that it's foolproof, because there are some concerns I do have, just like I have with every other team. But congratulations on the victory. This one right over here. Now, this was a big win because things did not look good, especially with Pat Mahomes, who played hurt and failed to reach the 30-point mark 2 weeks in a row. Paul Perkal, despite having a breakout candidate on the bench, puts up 130 to Max's 122. Max, got some advice for you, kid. Stop streaming defenses on Monday night games because you're 0-2 in that position. Could this be a karma thing? Maybe Max got away with a victory last week, if you look at it, so it came back to bite him in the ass. Paul stays alive in what is known as the most competitive division in our league, having a 130-point without a Pat Mahomes explosion. Paul, things could be looking up. I know I'd said that it's Pat Mahomes or bust, but there are some things to like here. I'll flat out say it. Nuketown wins 108 to 93. Yes, you feel happy for the victory, but for both of these teams, I've got major concerns moving forward. The good thing about this victory, Andre pretty much has a 2-game lead because he's undefeated in the division, which is known as the worst effing division. We talked about this matchup as being a make or break for management, and you eked away with a lucky victory here, Harsh. 114 to 113. Odell Beckham probably is PO'd beyond belief. And then last but not least, we have the upset. Not the upset, but this was a must-win situation for my team. Putting on a clinic. I think everybody played their part. I'm very, very happy that they proved to me that they do still care about this season, and that these are the type of things that they want to prove to me. 185 to 100, a really, really good sign for things to come. Bottom line, guys, I think after week 5, we are noticing a big trend here, okay? We're noticing a trend where I think the only teams that I think are consistent with breaking that like 120 point threshold are Rob Coffey, Max, and I'll throw it out there because the team is loaded. I'll throw in Harsh. I think those are the only 3 teams that are consistently putting up 120. Johnny, I think, has had 2 weeks in a row. I need to see a little bit more for a sample size since the trade. I'm going to put him in there as well. Those are the 4 teams I think that are consistent 120 point a week guys. I think everybody else is very boom or bust. Very boom or bust. I think those 4 teams I think would have to be my lock for playoffs. Just because I'm seeing the most consistency. And I still have yet to see some upside in Max's team. We've seen Coffey's team is doing this with dud weeks from Julio Jones and Odell Beckham. So if you're a believer in them going off, this only means positive regression in the TD department for Mr. Reb Coffey. My concern with the Harsh thing, management is one thing. We need a bigger sample size with this Chargers back situation. You're going to give them a few weeks to figure it out, bottom line. All right, so let's talk about the trade that recently went through as I'm recording this right now. Okay, so Zach Ertz, I'm sorry, there's a lot of waiver claims on a really bad week, which surprised me, so I'm scrolling down. Zach Ertz and Frank Gore get dealt for Josh Jacobs. Very intrigued as to why Frank Gore was part of this deal. I have no idea. Maybe this is a guy you need to play for bye week fill-ins. So regardless of him, Zachary Ertz and Josh Jacobs get dealt. This makes sense for David having Carson Wentz. And I think David's running backs, I think it was only a matter of time until I thought Freeman would be the one to get dealt. I'm a little surprised as Josh Jacobs, because Freeman looks really bad, but he's getting passing game work, and I think that's what it comes down to. Give me the guy who's not as touchdown dependent as Josh Jacobs. But the way Paul's team is set up, and I'll pull it up right now, I think having Josh Jacobs as the running back 2 behind, and I know me and him are talking in a negotiation as we speak, I think having him in a solid workload could be okay. Could be okay, bottom line. So yeah, that's my overall thought on the trade. We're going to break into some matchups. Now, I know a lot of things are going to change after I put this out, but with time and everything else, this is when I have the time to put this out. So if things do change, you know, okay, first matchup I think that I'm going to break down is, as far as talent is considered, I think there's a clear side that I'm taking over in this one. The projections are very low, which surprises me. Yahoo has it as 113 to 109, which by projection-wise says that it could be a pretty close game. Is this going to be the case? Let's take a look. So we have Vintage Harsh and David Cryer. David Cryer on a really bad losing streak, to say the least. Vintage Harsh finally gets off the schneid. It's amazing because it's like last week he put up a decent week and benched the wrong guy and lost. He didn't really have a good week and wins. I mean, that's the way this season is kind of turning out. Dak taking on Rivers. Give me Dak all game. I don't think this is a big yardage total for Dak Prescott, but I think it's a lock for at least 3 touchdowns. Give me one to Cooper, give me one to Gallup, and maybe a Jason Witten. I do feel like this is a get-right game for Zeke Elliott. I think what Dallas is looking at is you got to feed Zeke. I'm sorry. I know you're a Dak believer, but you can't have the offense run through this freaking guy. You're kidding me. I know Zeke Elliott. The problem is the whole Cabo situation. If Zeke was in training camp, I think we would go back to the conservative Dallas offense, but that's the way they have to win. I think Zeke Elliott has a big game, but Dak will still hit his floor. He'll have 28 fantasy points by the end of this one. Phillip Rivers against Pittsburgh. The Chargers are absolute garbage. Like they're really bad. And I just think that with Melvin Gordon not showing up, it has thrown a loophole into their offense. Keenan Allen is the only healthy receiver that they really have. They lost Hunter Henry. Their defense isn't very good. And Rivers has to do a lot. My issue here, though, is with Melvin Gordon now back and Eckler playing very well for what they want to do in the passing game, it throws a wrench into the rhythm. When Melvin Gordon was a beast when I had him, it was a lot of I formations, strong I formations early on, a lot of counters, a lot of toss plays, and then they would build that off to the pass. Phillip Rivers is a better game manager than he is a fantasy, let me throw for 30 points. Johnny J. Fresh was big on Rivers. I was not. And then I was big on him when Melvin Gordon wasn't there. The offense has to be more efficient through Melvin Gordon. I just don't think they trust him. The organization doesn't want to pay him. There's a lot of negativity here for the Los Angeles Chargers, whatever you want to call it. I'm very, very concerned. And this matchup, believe it or not, the Pittsburgh defense is really good since they got Minkah Fitzpatrick. I think that's what they needed, was somebody else in the secondary that could cover. I am not big on Phillip Rivers in this matchup by any means necessary. However, you're having a third-string quarterback go on the road in a primetime spot with not a lot of weapons. Maybe he can get at least 2 touchdowns for you here because of that narrative. But I'm taking Dak Prescott. Chris Godwin and, oh baby, Tyreek Hill coming off the injury potential. We don't know if he's going to play. For now, you have him in, and I'll say who your alternative will be. Brandon Cooks, Mohamed Sanu. I mean, this is a lock. Give me Godwin and Tyreek Hill. Cooks might not even play either, though. But even if Hill doesn't play, I think Godwin can outscore both Sanu and Cooks. Okay. The leash is getting a little bit longer for Chris Carson because he is an absolute stud of a running back, and it's hard to keep him on the bench with how hard he runs and bowls over every single defender. And Melvin Gordon is getting the start in your running back too, taking on Kamara and Derrick Henry. Kamara will have an absolute beast of a game, but I think Carson closes that gap a little bit. Carson will at least find the end zone once against a Cleveland Browns team that is an absolute disappointment. Then you got Alvin Kamara against the Jacksonville Jaguars. This is a fantastic matchup for Alvin Kamara and what the Saints want to do. It's a really good matchup. On the flip side, Derrick Henry looks to be in a very big smash spot against the Broncos, who really can't stop the run. However, they did a really good job against the Chargers. They're going on the road. My thing with Derrick Henry is because they don't pass the ball as much, Derrick Henry might get 27 carries, but it's not going to be like those 200-yard performances he was putting up last year. It's going to be like 100-something. But I would expect him to at least find the end zone once. Because of his volume, man, Derrick Henry has been a very, very consistent RB. He's a high-end RB, too, because he's not getting those 20-point games other than week 1. Flip side, Melvin Gordon. Look, I don't know what the heck is going to happen with this situation. For now, because you have Eckler in it, you're securing yourself. I think the best case scenario is that Gordon gets you 10 while Eckler gets you in that 17-point range. Hawkinson finds another start against Kittle. Kittle all day. He's going to break out soon. Eckler, Kirk, Jeffrey, Barber. Okay, Alshon Jeffrey, not big on that matchup. Peyton Barber, I mean, your coin flip for a touchdown maybe. Kirk might not even play either. Eckler's catches give him such a safe floor in fantasy football, though. LA Rams, Green Bay Packers. The Rams in general have been a big disappointment. Give me the Packers at home. Harsh's alternatives aren't very good, though, here. Because Hill might not play. Kirk might not play. My guess is that by default you have to play in Deebo Samuel. So you're already playing out with two guys that might be hurt, which doesn't bode well for you. But I think there's a lot of uncertainty, and that's why the projections are 113 to 109. This could be a close matchup due to Harsh's uncertainty and the amount of injuries that he's dealing with. But I can't feel confident saying, even with that David Cryer has enough firepower to pull an upset. I think that Gordon and Eckler at least will give Harsh some safety in the floor department, because I do expect the Chargers to be up big in this game, which could only bode well for either one of them. Godwin has been a beast. Tyreek Hill, even if he doesn't play, he still has Chris Carson. And the Green Bay defense has been a great, great, great pickup since week 1. So I'm going to go with Harsh. Here we go. The Commander-in-Chiefs, Paul Percall, getting a must-needed victory, taking on Lewis Todd A lot of bad blood between these two. I think we all know that. Projections, they're a lot on the Paul side of things. I'm surprised, and I think it's because, and Paul, I know we're talking a trade negotiation, so this roster could definitely change. It could absolutely definitely change. 100% could absolutely definitely change. But I don't feel like it's going to change my opinion that much on what you have. But I'll throw in some spoilers in it no matter what. Mahomes, hopefully the guy's okay. Taking on Houston, good matchup. Jared Goff going to be trailing a lot, I feel like, against San Francisco, which means that there's going to be a lot of pass attempts for Jared Goff. Look, Goff by default, I mean, it's a good thing Lewis took 2 quarterbacks because Baker was he wasn't cutting it. But I don't know what to think about Jared Goff. Too many turnovers. He looks for Cooper Kupp a lot. I think the only thing that could bode well is if they keep using Gerald Everett. Yeah, I know I picked him up, but I do like the talent of this guy. Cooks might not be available, and this is a good defense, apparently. So, got to go with Patty Mahomes. Adam Thielen against Philadelphia. This is a good matchup, Paul. Okay, I think Thielen you can only depend on when the Vikings have a team that they can throw against. This is one of them. Curtis Samuel against Tampa Bay. And then you have DJ Chark and Jarvis Landry. Now, we understand that DJ Chark might not be a part of this team anymore, and we know why. But even if you did play him this week, I like him maybe long-term, but this is not a matchup, I think, that's very good for him. Apparently, Marshawn Lattimore was dealing with some type of virus in his stomach, and he was playing lousy. He was lethargic. His blood sugar was low the first 3 weeks of the season. Now the New Orleans Saints are saying, well, he's all cured, and he shut down Mike Evans, and he shut down Amari Cooper. Now he's got DJ Chark. Chark I do like, but I feel like this is more a D.D. Westbrook type of game because the way you attack the New Orleans Saints is through the slot, not through the outside. That's why Godwin over the middle of the field beasted and Evans did not. Curtis Samuel, Jarvis Landry. Okay, so Jarvis Landry, he's like a low floor guy. I mean, that's what you're expecting. He's going to get the softest coverage, so you got to roll him out there. Curtis Samuel, now look, I feel bad for this guy. Every freaking week, this guy gets projected for touchdowns and doesn't deliver, and it's because of Kyle Allen. Kyle Allen is bad. Look, Lewis, I don't know about you, but the fact of the matter that people are pulling for Kyle Allen to start the rest of the season is a stupid mistake. We need Cam Newton back. As a DJ Moore owner, I want Cam Newton back. If you're a Christian McCaffrey owner, you don't care either way, but Curtis Samuel, these targets that are being thrown to him are freaking awful. And DJ Moore, the only reason why DJ Moore is producing more fantasy points than Curtis Samuel is simple for the fact that he does underneath work. Curtis Samuel doesn't. It sucks. This is a guy who was supposed to break out this year, don't get me wrong, but Kyle Allen is not the answer for his breakout. Yada, yada, yada. I got to go with, by default, Thielen might cancel out both of them. Sean McCoy, Carlos Hyde, Shoney Michel, Chris Thompson. McCoy is in the doghouse. Bottom line is McCoy is in the doghouse. Andy Reid, okay. Damian Williams was still the starter. And again, I know Lewis was on this hype train. Darwin Thompson was never a threat to Damian Williams. I think what had happened was that they wanted a secure veteran because Carlos Hyde was not the answer. And LaShawn McCoy was a free pickup. It's not like they traded for LaShawn McCoy. That would have been a bigger concern if as a Damian Williams owner. They needed somebody to back up Damian Williams. And we know LaShawn McCoy, the way he holds the ball and he fumbled. LaShawn McCoy is going to play second fiddle to Damian Williams. I think Damian Williams is the one who knows the playbook the most. He's the one who goes outside and he gets a lot of catches. I love Damian Williams this week more than LaShawn McCoy because of Pat Mahomes' mobility, which means that he might have to check it down more often than he would like to. Damian Williams is a very sneaky play this week because he's going to get a lot of catches. You see this all the time when quarterbacks that are not mobile face a lot of pressure like he did last week. The running backs in the passing game are going to get a ton of work. And Damian Williams started the game. It's Damian Williams' job until A, he gets hurt or can't prove to be otherwise. So LaShawn McCoy here is not a good start. Carlos Hyde on paper looks like a good start. Texans can't stop, the Chiefs can't stop the run for the love of God. But this is a Deshaun Watson-led team. Carlos Hyde is only going to get the ball on 1st and goal. That's it. You watch all of his touchdowns, most of it comes at 1st and goal or at the 1-yard line. They're a pass-first team. They spread the ball out. And now you're seeing Houston incorporate their tight ends in the red zone. Carlos Hyde is only getting a carry if it's 1st down. You better hope to God he plugs it in, because this is a Watson team, not a running team. Michelle, Chris Thompson. Look, Chris Thompson is oh God. Why is Gurley not in? Oh, okay, he's in the flex. I was about to say. No. The answer is no, Chris Thompson. Sony Michel, look, 19 points. That was a good game. Now you get the New York Giants. But bottom line is this. Sony Michel does good again. Get rid of him. Get rid of him. Look, Burkhead was out last week and Brandon Bolden caught a touchdown. Bottom line is this, folks. Whenever we have the New England Patriots ranked in fantasy, don't take them until the 7th round. You're not getting value out of these New England Patriot backs. Bottom line, that's what they do because they want to reveal things that are not on film. That's why they're a good coaching team and not viable for fantasy. With that all being said, Paul's got a lot of uncertainty at the running back. So does Lewis. But the gimme is Sony Michel's matchup, so I'll have to take that. Kelsey and Hooper, oh, dude, this is bad for you, Paul. Hooper against the Arizona Cardinals, and Hooper's been a beast this year. This guy is, wow, tight end 1. Austin Hooper has more fantasy points than Travis Kelsey, Paul. Oh, no, he doesn't. 63 for Kelsey. Oh, he does. Oh, my God. Holy crap, Paul. I'm sorry, but I know Travis Kelsey is always the free space bingo. Give me in the tight end department, but I'm taking Hooper here. Jordan Howard, Calvin Ridley, Todd Gurley, Preston Williams. Okay, I still don't like Todd Gurley. I don't care what you're telling me. I know you said you don't regret the pick, but you need a lot more volume. However, and I'll speak on this, Mr. Gurley, okay? The thing I like about it is that the Rams are losing, and they're probably going to say, fuck your arthritis. We need to run you because Jared Goff is not the answer. We need Gurley. If you die on the field and you lose a leg, we don't care. We're desperate. We need to use you. We can't hide you anymore. So I actually do like this a lot for Todd Gurley. Will he be effective? I don't know. A lot of people think that he's lost a lot of elusiveness and he can't cut because of those knees. But I would predict that they use him a ton in this game because they're 3-2. They've lost 2 straight. Now, if they were undefeated, I would hate this matchup because they want to preserve him for playoffs. They have no choice. They're 3rd in their division. Love this. I absolutely love this. This is the one time I'm touting Todd Gurley for you, Lewis. So I love this week. Preston Williams. Who are we against? Washington. Okay, fine. Preston Williams creates a lot of separation. He's a good guy, but he drops a lot of passes. But, I mean, desperate times call for desperate measures. But I'd still have Nicole Hardman over him, Lewis. Come on, bro. Calvin Ridley, Jordan Howard. Paul's new favorite running back, Jordan Howard. He's not going to get the job done against Minnesota, though. Calvin Ridley was bailed out by a garbage time catch last week. Look, this guy, I don't think he's that good. I know he's a first-round draft pick, but I feel like he's only going to do good if it's a wide-open zone or man coverage because he says he can't get open against zone coverage, and that concerns me. Wow, I did not expect to do this much analysis on this freaking matchup. Washington team's defense or LA defense. Chargers are an absolute mess. They can't generate any pass rush. Whoa. I take that back, Lewis. I take that back. Why did they get you 19 points? 3. Oh, the return touchdown bailed them out. Yeah, they had a good week. Maybe I have to change my tone on that one. Look, I don't care if it's the Miami Dolphins, Paul. It's still the Washington Redskins. No, thank you. I might have to go with the LA Chargers. So this could be a trap game situation for Paul. Now, we spoke on it. There could be a deal that makes me feel a little bit better about this situation, Paul, but I'm looking at Lewis's matchups, and they are tremendous. Sony Michel, good matchup. Austin Hooper, probably the best matchup in fantasy football is against the Arizona Cardinals, streaming a tight end. Gurley's usage, I love it because the Rams are losing. And my philosophy is when you start, guys, they got to change the script. They're losing. They got to use the guy they're paying a ton of money for. Give me that. Give me that all day. I like Thielen for you, Paul. Mahomes' health is a little bit of concern, but I am not a fan of the running backs, and I am not a fan of the flexes. Unless you... Now, I'm not trying to bait you into doing the move, Paul, because I know that's what you're thinking here right now, but I'm telling you right now, with Sony Michel against those Giants, I think he cancels out both of your running backs. I'm going to go with the upset. Maybe if things change on a trade, Paul. No, okay, I'm kidding. But I don't think it'll affect my opinion that much regardless, but I am very concerned. Unless Pat Mahomes goes back to being Pat Mahomes and throws 2 touchdowns to Kelsey, I think that's the only breathing room you might have. There's a lot of uncertainty here. I don't know how healthy Pat Mahomes is. I like a lot of matchups for the Lewis Todd team. I think Lewis gets win number 2. I could be the type of guy who could just say the winner right now and not go on an analysis. But I'm going to tell you why I'm going to do an analysis. It's for one simple fact only. Alan, I appreciate how you like all my soul, disco, and funk samples that I put in these videos. And you take the time, you can't wait to listen to the projections, and you like my music. So I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt, and I'm actually going to break this down. So coffee, get some coffee, no decaf. Let's recap. Coffee, you lost the game, finally. Alan Williams, looks like the other cousin proved to be the dominant cousin. Because I love how you love my funk music, Alan, I'm going to give you a deep, in-depth analysis. Here we go. Lamar versus Kirk Cousins, Lamar next. Julio Jones, Odell Beckham, Mike Evans, Michael Thomas. This is the highlight. This is the main event of this matchup right here, because I think the way things have been going for Rob Coffey with Julio Jones and Odell Beckham. Now we know one guy Rob Coffey wants to strangle the crap out of. The other one is letting him down. Okay? It's like, here's the way I see it, right? As a teacher, I'm going to give you a teacher connection. Maybe you have a counselor connection here, Coffee. It's like, you're the teacher of this classroom, and you got Julio Jones, okay? He's your star student. He's the one. Now, he doesn't kiss up to the teacher, but he's a good kid. He tries his hardest, and he stays out of trouble. And then you have the kid, Odell Beckham, in your class, who acts like a you-know-what, creates a lot of trouble, a lot of chaos, and gets you triggered to the point where you have to take a deep breath before you explode on this guy. However, you're noticing some negative trends in Julio Jones, which makes you have second thoughts. And Odell Beckham is still like that. And you're hoping that you have a talk with Julio and say, hey, look, I know you're on a really bad team, and I know things can get frustrated, man, but you got to pick it up. You were my first round pick. I believe in you. I love you. Give the kid a hug. Have him prove to you this week that he is the best wide receiver in football. And with that being said, Julio Jones breaks the slate on DraftKings, and he gets Rob Coffey 35 points. 10 catches, 125 yards. Well, no. 10 catches, 187 yards, 2 touchdowns. I don't know if I did the math right on that, Coffee, but hey, that's what's going to happen. Julio Jones is going to be the wide receiver 1 this week. He is going to surpass Cooper Kupp as the wide receiver 1 in fantasy after this week is over. And Rob Coffey feels a little bit better about his team. Now, Mr. Beckham, 7 points. I'm not buying this anymore. But what can Mike Evans and Michael Thomas do? Mike Evans was shut down against Carolina, but he was sick the first time. And now things get a little bit more interesting. The Carolina secondary was exposed a little bit against DJ Chark and TD Westbrook. So there is no reason why they can't get exposed again. So Mike Evans should bounce back big in this one. Michael Thomas on the road I don't like as much as Michael Thomas at home. But it's the Jacksonville Jaguars with pretty much no Jalen Ramsey. He's going to get his floor. I'm going to say 15 points for Michael Thomas. Give me 20 for Mike Evans. Therefore, it's going to be a draw because I think Julio goes off. But I'm not a Beckham believer. I am not an Odell Beckham believer. I hate, because I love Odell Beckham, but I hate how it's come down to this, man. This is a team that they don't know how to. Can nobody figure out this guy? The way the Browns have to win is through Nick Chubb and build off a play action like they did last year, and then kind of get creative with their sprinkled in trick plays. I'm not big on Beckham Coffee. I apologize, but I think this is a draw in the receiver department. Okay, well, I guess we figured out our running back situation. If we and I make Shanahan offense, I gotta go Matt Breida, Tevin Coleman, Coffee. Le'Veon Bell, Chase Edmonds. Ooh, this is a game breaker right here, Alan. If David Johnson's back can't go, Chase Edmonds will give you 25 fantasy points. Book it. Coffee, I know I might overproject that, but have you seen this Atlanta defense? Have you seen Chase Edmonds run the football? This is why Allen always takes these backup running backs early. For whatever reason, I don't know, but this is why he's doing it. Oh, and by the way, Le'Veon Bell gets Sam Darnold back. Oh, here's the big if. If David Johnson is ruled out, I'm going with Allen by a clear-cut victory in the running back department because I don't think Matt Breida and Tevin Coleman can coexist week in and week out. I think that was a circumstantial game flow. Look, they had 2 weeks to prepare for the freaking Browns. Okay, you put me in that backfield, Rob Coffey, and I'm becoming Jeff Wilson on 3 carries and scoring 2 touchdowns. Okay, I'm fading the both Niners backs as startable. I think you just have to roll with Matt Breida, but it sucks because they're splitting. I'm fading it. I'm fading it, Coffee. I really am. I love Bell and Chase Edmonds if David Johnson is ruled out. Let's say David Johnson is ruled in. I think Edmonds will get some work sprinkled in. One of the two is going to go off, Coffee, between your not go off, but do okay between Breida and Coleman. I just don't know which one. If David Johnson is ruled out, I like this a lot for Allen. Ooh, we have a tough matchup now. Chris Herndon, OJ Howard. Look, Gase sucks. OJ Howard sucks. Give me Herndon. Oh, wait. No, I forgot. If you're buying the one-handed catch at the Tampa Bay Rays game at an OJ Howard narrative, congratulations, but Bruce Arians hates tight ends. I'm sorry. Give me Chris Herndon. This is where the matchup is difficult, though. Rob Coffey's favorite wide receiver combo in the league currently is Amari Cooper and Michael Gallup. And both will find the end zone this week where Mike Williams and Gus Edwards don't do anything. Okay, he's nervous. Dallas D against the Jets. I'm surprised this guy wasn't claimed earlier on. New England versus the Giants. This is a tougher matchup, actually, when I'm breaking it down. You're welcome, Alan. You are welcome that I actually spent time and broken this down. New England is a smash play. Smash play. Coffee, I'm afraid you're going to have to deal with 25 points, my friend. Dallas against the New York Jets, I think they only get you like 12. We have ourselves a matchup. This is actually a close matchup. I thought it was a free space bingo matchup, but this is why you have to break down these things. Bottom line is this. The reason why this matchup gets close, I think Coffee has a clear-cut advantage at the quarterback department and the flex department, and that's the difference in this one. I think Lamar's floor, I know he put up 13, but this is the Bengals for crying out loud. Lamar might put up 60. Okay, fine, Coffee. I know you don't want me to jinx some crap. I know you're listening to this like that. 35. Cooper and Gallup. Remember I used to play that game with you when you had, what was it, Adams and Juju? Over or under 40 points for the Cooper-Gallup combo? I'm going to say over. I think Amari Cooper puts up 23, and I think Michael Gallup puts up 18. I think the flexes make Rob Coffey. Coffee, you're going to be hyperventilating a lot because you're going to get pissed when Chase Edmonds has a big game, and you're why are we playing? Oh, I'm sorry. Why are the Jets in Dallas at a 425 game in New York? This is, oh my God, who made these games? Anyway, Coffee, before the 4 o'clock games, man, you are going to be hyperventilating a lot. Oh, wait, no, you only really have Lamar Jackson and Beckham. Coffee, you're going to be pacing during red zone. You're going to start drinking a lot of water. You're going to start fidgeting. But then everything's going to be all right once the Dallas boys prove to you why you're a Dallas Cowboys fan deep down inside. And they're going to prove to you why you're going to go 5-1. Allen is going to put up a very hard-fought match for Coffee. He's going to make you earn this victory, bottom line. Final prediction. Robert C. I don't even know what your middle name is, by the way. Robert Coffey, 134 to Alan Williams, 128. All right, David, I know you look forward to my matchups, and I'm playing you this week. There's a trade pending, so a lot of things could change. But I'm still going to give you the courtesy of breaking down what we have as of right now in the matchup department. Let's get into it. Deshaun Watson versus Carson Wentz. Wentz against Minnesota on the road is not the most ideal matchup in the world, but Carson Wentz has a lot of pass attempts for him to be fantasy viable. And on the flip side, Deshaun Watson, look, I'm hoping this trend stops, like really, because I loved what I saw last week, but look at this. 36 points one week, next week 12. 31 points one week, next week 11. 51 points one week, next week. If the trend continues, this is a dud game for him, and I will freaking lose my mind. I think the trend stops. It's got to stop. Bill O'Brien, you need to call a better game. Deshaun Watson, you play like the MVP that you are. So I am not going to say draw. I'm going to stick with my guns on this one, and I got to go to Deshaun Watson. Kansas City's defense is really bad, but they generate a lot of pressure in the pass game, which is a big concern for Deshaun Watson if he plays a team that can generate some pass rush. But Deshaun Watson, you can also look at this. Deshaun Watson, when he's on the road, has averaged 32 fantasy points. His home games, other than the Atlanta outbursts, are where he's been struggling. So there's a lot of narrative cards you could play here. Cooper Kupp, who is the number one wide receiver in fantasy football, and Josh Gordon taking on Tyler Lockett. And oh, this is bad. We got some family crimes here. We got Sutton on Sutton crime. Oh God. Okay, Cooper Kupp is going to give you a lock to at least 17 a week. Okay, I'm going to say that. I think this is a guy that is going to be a wide receiver one because McVay's system is starting to get figured out, and Cooper Kupp is the secondary option read when things don't get open for Jared Goff, and he's always open all over the field. Great technician, great route runner. I mean, if you drafted him early this year in fantasy football, you're loving every single minute of this because this is even better than what he was putting up when he was healthy last year for Johnny. This guy is he's good. I wouldn't call him an elite wide receiver by any means, but he makes Jared Goff's life a lot easier. If Cooper Kupp is not on this team, I think the Rams are like one of the bottom teams in the NFL. Point blank. Okay, you know my issue about Josh Gordon, okay? I don't understand why people look back what he did in Cleveland. We are now, dude, how many years removed from that? And he plays for a team that doesn't target superstars. I was never about this Josh Gordon hype when he got reinstated. But, big but here. Okay, he has the easiest pass secondary matchup in the league as the New York Giants, who he plays. Adam Thielen woke up. Bottom line is this. It's New England at home. When New England is at home, you project everybody to have a very good game. Josh Gordon is no exception to that. So I am not going to say bust here because if I do that, David, he's going to put out 27 on Thursday night. We've seen this happen time and time again. People who play on Thursday night, it's some people who are not involved in the game plan last week become heavily involved in this week. And guess what? If I'm following that trend right now, Josh Gordon was targeted 8 times, so I guess he kind of was involved in the game plan, but he didn't execute that well. Bottom line is I think he finishes as a low-end wide receiver too. On the flip side, okay, Tyler Lockett and Courtland Sutton. Courtland Sutton is must-start material moving forward. Wow, I drafted him thinking he would be good, but these kind of numbers are mind-boggling, man. I didn't expect this at all. Tyler Lockett, look. This is Russell Wilson's go-to guy. He's the one guy who has chemistry with Russell Wilson. And the fact that Disley is being involved more only makes me even more happy as a Tyler Lockett owner because now we saw in week 1 he was double-teaming because we didn't know who was going to step up. Now you have a big wide receiver, DK Metcalf, on the outside, and you have a tight end that is pretty good at football. Bottom line is this. Tyler Lockett is going to finish the season as a low-end wide receiver 1, and now you get a very, very shaky Browns defense and the back end with no Denzel Ward, Greedy Williams as of right now. That could change. But I think it doesn't change my stance because Tyler Lockett lines up in the slot where he's going to avoid either one of them. Courtland Sutton. Tennessee Titans are coming into town at a 4 o'clock game. Look, I know it's weird because you see the Titans give up a lot of chunk yard plays deep down the field, and I think Courtland Sutton is going to be on the receiving end of one of those. I do think I'm playing conservatively here because while I think Lockett and Kupp have good games, Josh Gordon is a big wild card on a Thursday night. Anything could happen. Anything could happen. I'm going to say a draw in the wide receiver department on this one. Okay. I'll be honest, when I'm looking at this matchup, talent-wise, I don't like a lot of David's running backs. Situation-wise, they are going to piss me off. David, listen to what I'm going to say right now. You have a lot of running backs that I am not big on. However, the stat lines they are going to be putting up are terrible for real-life football, but they're good for fantasy. And I'm referring to Devonta Freeman and James Conner. I'll get to them in a minute. Nick Chubb, Aaron Jones. Okay. I don't want to plant my flag, but Nick Chubb is the reason why the Browns are 2-3. Okay, now he gets a Seattle defense that's leaky against the run. They were embarrassed on primetime television. Could be a big bounce back spot for Mr. Chubb. You already know how I feel about my running back too. I went into the draft. I didn't even know who I was going in the first round or third round. The only thing I locked in was my second round pick will be Aaron Jones, and you can't stop me. I know Johnny tried to trade to get his Todd Gurley, but I knew Lewis was going to pounce on Aaron Jones. This is my guy. And man, oh man, did I when I was watching that Dallas game, I think something moved in my pants. I don't know what the hell it was, but man, it was a good feeling. David Johnson, Devonta Freeman. Look, this is what I'm talking about right here. Devonta Freeman is a terrible running back in real life, but with Arizona, this could be a really ugly shootout, and Devonta Freeman might have 10 catches. Going to piss me off. He's going to break that floor at 14. David Johnson is a big key here. They're going to be monitoring him all week. This air raid, I think, is starting to take a toll on David Johnson. He's a good pick. Okay, I was wrong about that, but there's a lot of stuff that's not going right for him with the wrist, and now the back started to lock up on that. I think it was like the wheel route that he caught, because I saw him get up a little bit gingerly, kind of arched his back a little bit. It's concerning. I don't know what's going to happen. If he plays, you're obviously starting him. Due to the fact that you have the guaranteed workload volume between David Johnson and Devonta Freeman's really going to tick me off. I know it's going to happen. It's going to be a lot of dump-offs. Touchdowns might not be that guaranteed, but this is a Cardinals defense that is really bad. So I'm going to play it conservative on that part. Zach Ertz versus Gerald Everett. Zach Ertz, I think the way you have to attack the Minnesota Vikings is in the middle of the field, because on the outside with Xavier Rhodes doesn't bode well, and you have the combo with Wentz and Ertz. Gerald Everett, this is a fill-in because Darren Waller's on the bye, but I think this guy might have some fantasy value moving forward. We've seen him the last 2 weeks get heavily involved in the passing attack, but the drops could cost him into the doghouse. And another thing, if you want to fade Gerald Everett, Tyler Higbee is the one who had the big contract extension, not Gerald Everett. Fun fact, Gerald Everett was Sean McVay's first ever draft pick. So maybe there's some connection going on there. But bottom line, no matter how much I feel about Mr. Gerald Everett, there's a guy on the other side of Zach Ertz who's pretty floor dependent. Like I said, this is where my lineup could change throughout the weekend on yours as well. Larry Fitzjames, Connor, Phillip Lindsay, D.D. Westbrook. Phillip Lindsay is just very hard to bench. Tremendous athlete, very explosive. Love the way he runs the football. D.D. Westbrook, I love this matchup a lot for him because of avoiding Marshawn Lattimore, and you attack the Saints through the middle of the field. This is a guy that's going to tick me off, James Conner. I know this is another stat line where get a pen, pencil, put it in your book. James Conner, 20 carries, 17 yards. Ew, but I know that's what's going to happen. But 15 catches for 45. That's the type of stat line that's going to tick me off. There's no Jalen Samuels. Maybe Benny Snell gets some run. But man, oh man, those catches are going to give you a safe floor, at least 7 points, plus the added on tagged on bonus. Ugh. Him and Freeman, I don't like them at all, but I know these are good matchups for them. Titans traveling to Denver. It's Joe Flacco. Why not? New Orleans, they generate a pass rush against the coolest quarterback in the league, Gardner Minshew. So we'll see what happens there. Subject to change with my lineup and yours. I'm assuming if David Johnson can't go. By default, if Watkins is healthy, you might go him or Deshaun Jackson because I know how you operate with the health and whatnot. DJ Moore hasn't been completely ruled out. Damian Williams might be part of a trade, so I might not even have him. Okay, how am I going to predict this moving forward? So you have one team that hasn't shown his upside the last 2 weeks, and another team put up 95 due to a bad management move, and then exploded for 185. So there's a lot of things. If I'm looking at matchups alone, David's matchups look like it's a good floor-esque type of matchup for him, even for Larry Fitzgerald. My concern with maybe Fitzgerald, but I know it's the Cardinals and the Falcons can't generate any pass rush and their defensive backs suck. If Christian Kirk is ruled out again, you would think that Dan Quinn would try to double team Larry Fitzgerald, but then again, like, I'm not a coach in the NFL. He is, so the matchups make this very, very serviceable for David. I think talent-wise, though, on the other end, do you believe in defenses don't matter? I know there's a lot of people in the daily fantasy community who are touting that, but we'll see. It's undetermined at this point. I like Chubb, I like Jones, but on the flip side, Freeman and Johnson could have solid games as well. Bottom line is, will Deshaun Watson prove to be not 50 points, but in a must-see matchup, if you love offense, between Pat Mahomes and Deshaun Watson? I'm going to be on the edge of my seat. My God, I can't wait for this game. Hopefully Mahomes is healthy. That would really suck if we have like Mahomes on one leg against Deshaun Watson. But I'm going to stand by my gut for now on. I am not going to play chicken. I am not going to hide behind this microphone. I believe in Deshaun Watson. I believe that he will not put up a dud after a big, big game. Keys to victory here. Number one, for Nick's side, Deshaun Watson needs to become Deshaun Watson and not David Carr as a Texan. My second key to victory here is Nick Chubb. I firmly believe after an embarrassing Monday night loss, you go back to the drawing board. Freddie Kitchens says, we can exploit these guys through the ground game. Give me Nick Chubb. I think that's the number 2 key to victory. The number 3 key to victory for Nick's side of the ball is, what is the flex going to look like? There's a trade pending as of right now. Could change the whole aspect of this game. But I think the key to victory is the flex department, because if you look at David's Fitzgerald and James Conner matchups, those are really good. Phillip Lindsay is kind of a coin flip, but he's hard to bench. And Westbrook, those are the keys to victory. Keys to victory for David Sutton. If David Sutton, if David Sutton is to pull out one here, Mr. Wentz would have to be close to Deshaun Watson's output. That's the number 1. Number 2 key to victory is Devonta Freeman needs to get a lot of volume in the passing game, because I really do feel like that could put a dent in the Aaron Jones-Nick Chubb combo, which, by the way, as of right now, sits as a top 5 running back combo in the league. And my number 3 key to victory is Larry Fitzgerald needs to deliver in probably the best matchup he'll ever have in his career. There's a lot to be said with that. There is a lot of uncertainty here with this matchup. There's a lot of good matchups on the David side, but not going to hide behind the camera. I do feel like maybe I get my third win here, led by Deshaun Watson, who puts together a nice game yet again. And I do feel like a one sleeper factor that's going to be not really talked about here, but is a very big career game for the New Orleans Saints defense, which I feel like puts together 8 sacks. I think that's going to be the difference. Okay, you look at this matchup. And 2-3-2 teams, 2 teams with winning records. One team has certainly turned his season around with one little trade. But the more and more I look at it, I think it's more of fortunate matchups and the MVP. Like even because he won without the trade last week. So I think that Christian McCaffrey is clearly an MVP. And I think that the Will Fuller breakout game finally happened, and he's building a lot of momentum. He's loving every second of it. He's on a 3-game winning streak versus a team that's 3-2, which I absolutely am not buying at all. There's a lot of negativity here. The only positive thing with this team is that he has a 2-game lead in the division because he's undefeated in a division which is probably the worst one in the league. Johnny versus Andre. My theme for this one is blowout of the week number 2 for Johnny. Big blowout. No, this is not reverse psychology, Johnny, by you by any means, because I actually do like your team again. This is deja vu of the Zeke Elliott trade you had a few years back. You traded for Zeke Elliott, and your team became really, really good. Okay? It's amazing how early in the season he just makes a trade like that, and it saves his season. But I've got a lot of concerns on the Andre side of the ball, a ton of concerns. And I think that those concerns are going to show this week. I know you had Alan Williams, but this is now a very formidable opponent in Mr. Johnny J. Fresh. Johnny, one thing I am going to criticize you on right now, and you're going to have to get over it. You can hit me up Monday Night Football if I'm wrong. I don't care. It's not going to happen long term. You had an opportunity to claim Gardner Minshew, and you did not. Aaron Rodgers is a game manager. Those 23 points, Aaron Rodgers used to have 28 points projected. Pretty soon, Yahoo is going to project him for 20 points. He is a game manager. I'm very upset that you did not take advantage of Gardner Minshew on the waiver wire, Mr. Johnny J. Fresh. A little bit upset. He's a game manager. They're going to ride the other Aaron. My boy. They're a run-first team until they fall behind. This is a game where I don't expect them to fall behind. Tom Brady. Give me Tom Brady in this matchup. Give me Tom Brady in this matchup. But this is what sucks for Andre. Julian Edelman is going to play. Will Fuller, DeAndre Hopkins, and Beta. I'm sorry, I'm not Beta. Juju Smith-Schuster, sorry. Julian Edelman, good matchup against the Giants. He's probably going to score 1, maybe has potential to get 2 touchdowns. Will Fuller, okay, the breakout game happened, and now, oh my God, I'm going to start him, and nobody can take him away from me. All right, look. I think one thing that people are going to start saying is, it's not even the fact that air yards were one thing where you knew he was going to break out, but does Kenny Stills' injury really put him in a better spot now? Because the first game without Kenny Stills, he goes off. I think maybe the Texans really wanted to incorporate Stills a little bit more. Kute really hasn't even played much of the snaps either. The Houston Texans are starting to run a lot of 2 tight end sets for extra blocking, and they're incorporating the tight ends a little bit more now, which can only bode well for William Fuller, the 5th. I think, yeah, it's a 5. Hopkins, look, what is going on here? He is not DeAndre Hopkins by any means, but this is a fantastic matchup. I think Hopkins, I know I said it last week, and I'm going to continue to say this should be a good matchup. Beta Smith-Schuster, no. It's not going to happen with a third-string quarterback. I feel bad for him in real life because I was fading Juju. I actually made a bet with Coffey. I think I've said this a million times. I had Tyler Boyd over Juju Smith-Schuster. Yeah, I know that's you think it's hindsight? Go ask the man himself. I almost made a prop bet on him, but I didn't have the balls to do it because obviously I would have been at a disadvantage. Yeah, to 10 points, you'll be lucky to get 5 in this one. Give me Johnny's receivers. Christian McCaffrey, Kenyon Drake, Mark Ingram, James White. Bottom line is this. Take Christian McCaffrey's score, divide it by 2, and he'll still outproduce Mark Ingram and James White. Next, Mark Andrews, Greg Olsen. Greg Olsen's fallen off since Kyle Allen has taken over at quarterback, but that can be said for DJ Moore. That can be said for Curtis Samuel. Here's the thing, folks. Johnny, I know you're a big fan of this guy too. They need Cam Newton back. Look, I know I'm in a contrarian mindset. Kyle Allen is not winning them games. He happens to be the quarterback. Christian McCaffrey is the reason why they're winning games. For the Panthers coming out of the bye next week, I mean, they're going into a bye next week. Sorry, I got to rephrase my wordage here. This is not... Guys, Kyle Allen is not the answer. I'll say it again. He's not the answer. He's not as dynamic as Cam Newton. I know Cam Newton is inaccurate. I know that he's inaccurate. I think everybody knows that he's inaccurate. But the bottom line is he at least makes their offense not so one-dimensional. Kyle Allen is not... I think you might even see a bad Kyle Allen game against Tampa this week. Mark Andrews. If he's healthy, he's scoring for you again. Kerryon Johnson, Devontae Adams is questionable. Robert Woods, Stefan Diggs. These guys aren't even startable at this point. Kerryon Johnson gives you a good floor against Green Bay's rut. Green Bay can be ran against. I actually do. This isn't. Kerryon is starting to prove me wrong in these upcoming weeks. If Adam plays, you're starting him. If not, I'm assuming Marvin Jones gets to start because it's Monday night. So you're safe on that matter. Why? Okay. Yeah, I skipped over Kenyon Drake, but it doesn't matter. Baltimore does not have a good defense, Johnny. They just have a good matchup. Carolina against Tampa Bay, this is a good defense. Okay, we're done analyzing for a minute. I just want to check if there's anything left on the... Oh, Johnny, you sheep. You freaking sheep. Why do you have this guy on the bench? I'm kidding. I'm not going to help you out. I'm not going to do that unless you text me and you're wondering who the heck is on the bench. The call is going to cost you $20 though for me because you have a guy on the bench as of right now who will outproduce Kenyon Drake, and you put Kerryon in your RB2. Dude, don't do this because it won't even cost you, but there's a guy that's going to explode on your bench. I just noticed. Andre, I won't do that to you, my man. I won't tell him who to put in. But Andre, if I'm looking at your bench, no, there's no. I think this is the lineup you have to roll with. Bottom line, how is this going to play out? Look, you're dealing with the MVP. If Andre is to win, Hopkins needs to have a 3-touchdown game, and Brady needs to go off, and Ingram needs to score a touchdown. It's a lot to ask for. Johnny seems riding high, and he's proven a lot of people wrong, myself included. But look, I didn't expect him to make a trade that might have saved his season. But it's not even the trade. It's just McCaffrey is an absolute stud. Okay. Johnny went 0-2. Johnny seems to be 4-1 because McCaffrey didn't get any carries against Tampa Bay. The first matchup. That's why he's losing. Or that's why he's 3-2 and not 4-1. But I don't like Aaron Rodgers, Johnny. I'm upset you didn't pull Gardner Minshew off the waiver wire. Very upset, in fact. But I don't think it matters. I think Johnny takes another victory with ease. I'm going to project 138 to Andre's 102. Good morning. You had to know I was going to put this as the matchup for the week. It's me, Max, taking on Matt. And an epic showdown between two best friends going at it jab for jab, punch for punch, kick for kick. Here we go. Look, this is my matchup of the week. The narrative, number 1. Number 2, these teams both have a winning record. Matt got knocked out of first place. How is he going to rebound after a big time blowout? Max, I don't know what it is with you, kid. But you have this fixation for streaming Monday night defenses that never work out for you, and they've cost you. They've cost you. You could have those 2 streams alone cost you from being undefeated on the season. Do you realize that? Russell Wilson, Kyler Murray. Wow. As much as I love Russell Wilson, Kyler Murray, man, is in a huge spot. This is you ready? This is the game where Kyler Murray makes Matt go on DHgate or NFLshop.com and click purchase Kyler Murray jersey. I'm sorry. I love just picturing the Morris moments, like just watching a game and him just getting fixated on a player. I love it. It's everything you need in fantasy football. Give me Kyler. Oh, I almost said Kyle Allen. Keenan Allen, Tyler Boyd, Golden Tate, Terry McLaurin. Max in a landslide. Tyler Boyd, baby. I love Max's receiver combo. Zeke, Fournette, Cook, Ronald Jones. I'm going to go with Zeke and Fournette. Cook is matchup proof, bro. Look at these numbers. 22, 26, 22, 16, 22. I know he gets the Philly defense that stopped a lot of running backs. And I know it could be a bit of a concern here and there. But look, I'm not buying it. But I'm not buying Ronald Jones by any means either. Give me Ezekiel Elliott and a 2-touchdown game performance and Leonard Fournette, who's been very good for you, Max. Yeah. Disley will outscore Ricky Seals. Joe Mixon, age. Oh, God. No, you didn't. Jesus. Why? Galladay, celebrate. Marquez, Vildes, Scantling. The only way I like MVS is if Adams is on the field. This guy is terrible in a wide receiver one role, but I do expect Marquise Brown, if healthy, to get the start over MVS, but I am not his manager. I will not do that. Joe Mixon against Baltimore, terrible matchup. Why? Max. Oh, you got people on bye, but still, no. You're starting like a 50-year-old running back who's on a really... Max, you're killing me with these management decisions. What am I going to do with you? Are you kidding me? If Adrian Peterson scores a touchdown, he's going to get like 20 yards. Max, this move alone could cost you... No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. All right. Oh, I like that stream, Morris. I like that Arizona Cardinals D at home. Oh, this is the type of stream where it goes unnoticed that Morris has, and it breaks out for him. This Matt Morris kid. I love it. I love that stream. Denver, it's all right. Bottom line is this. I feel like this matchup is going to outproduce both projections, but I think Ezekiel Elliott has a game where Max is sleeping on the couch. Here's Joe Buck or whoever, Elliott to the 40. What? I'm back in this. And he like literally gets excited and he does his whole little spiel, dance, whatever you want to call it. This is the matchup of the week. So I like how these two both have winning records. I like how they're both best friends. And I just love every minute of it. I think Max pulls away with the victory. Golden Tate could be sneaky good, though, for Matt. Sneaky good. But I think there's a lot of firepower with this Max Mandel team. Give me the mighty man himself, Max.